You're listening to the Geriatric Mamas Podcast with Jessica Raziri
and Sonia Tapley.
Hey mamas! Today we're talking about our new title, our adventure to a magic store in New Hampshire, our New Year's nail salon experience, and since we're geriatric and hitting the very early stages, very premature early stages,
extremely early
of midlife, like so many geriatric mamas are, we're going to be diving 100% into the topic of midlife crisis. What are they? What are the signs? How to avoid them? And more. This is a topic that's dear to our hearts, and we especially hope the avoidance of a midlife crisis part helps. Enjoy! Mamas, I love a full and silky texture in my face creams because they feel so healing and comforting to my dry, thirsty skin. Well, the award-winning, best-selling, lightweight moisture release water cream by Honest Beauty called Hydrogel Cream refreshes and cools my skin on application and leaves a dewy finish. As I mentioned on the Hope-isode, Kathy's story, I love mixing Hydrogel Cream into my foundation for a healthy-looking glow. Infused with jojoba and squalene to help hydrate and soothe thirst, plus 2 sizes of hyaluronic acid to help soften and firm, reducing the appearance of fine lines. Honest Beauty's Hydrogel Cream will provide a beautiful glow for very dry skin. We're leaving the link below in our show notes. Drink up, mamas.
Mamas, I want to have rosé all day, have fun, and let myself live a little without feeling drunk or feeling hungover the next day. So I treat myself by adding rosé tinted glasses to my sparkling water or lemonade. If you're like me and you're looking for calm daytime energy while feeling alert, present, and uplifted because, well, you know, you're a mom now. Adaptogenic and antioxidant-rich ingredients make rosé tinted glasses from Apothecary great for those battling feelings of stress and looking to curb signs of aging with improved skin tone and moisture. Its tincture format makes it easy to drop wherever you're making it. It's perfect for busy working moms, busy stay-at-home moms who are looking for mood and energy support on the go. We're leaving the link below and in our show notes. So cheers, mamas!
So we have an announcement. We are changing this podcast
name.
We are officially...
We are the Queens of Witches.
Just kidding. But seriously, what a cute name that would be.
It's so cute. Could we be the geriatric Queens of Witches? I don't know. It's just
the Queens of Witches, the geriatric edition.
Yeah. It's not too long. It's just right.
Is it though? It seems pretty long. So we went to Deadwick's.
Yes.
Yesterday. Took Sonia, and it was definitely an experience.
It was my first magical Emporium kind of experience.
I love that place so much. We were there for quite a while.
Yeah. And we had like the best person helping us. Her name was Juniper. And she was just on it with any questions.
I love that name.
Yeah, Juniper is a beautiful name.
It's the cutest name.
Like, how are you born with that name?
Do you think she gave it? Do you think that she like renamed herself?
She might have, but now I need to bring it up with people because I have some people who like to name their children after certain herbs or plants or whatever, and I never thought of Juniper as an option.
So I literally was just talking to my coworkers about the name Juniper.
Really?
Yeah, because we have a client called Juniper, or like Juniper's in their name or whatever. I can't remember the whole name, but anyway, and I was like, Juniper would be such a pretty girl's name. And then lo and behold, all of a sudden a week later, seriously, I meet an actual real life Juniper. So it's just super cute. But we had such a fun time.
Yeah.
We have some incense going right now. We made a special potion together.
For the prosperity of the podcast.
And so we're both wearing it now. And it smells so good.
And since our podcast's, like, one of the main themes of the podcast is fertility, Juniper put, like, a fertility oil in the potion. And then because we want success and prosperity with the podcast...
It's all about women empowerment.
Right.
The other oil was called Queens of Witches.
Yes.
And we're just like stuck to that one.
Right.
Because I just like think it's the coolest name.
It's so cool.
Yeah. We're the Queens of Witches.
Yeah. and we're wearing it too.
We're wearing it. It smells so good.
It smells like kind of fruity, like really yummy, and then it wears down to a little bit more floral.
Yeah, it's like a woodsy floral kind of scent. We both got these little roller balls.
Yeah,
like
we just like put
containers.
it. Yeah,
put a little on
wear
our
it like
wrist
perfume and have the intentions. And I put it on before I started working on the outline, and because I had just like notes going for the outline, but I didn't finish it until now because I just needed that extra boost of inspiration.
So we have incense going. We're wearing our special potion. We got our palms read as well. That was a cool experience.
So cool. Yeah.
There was a lot there that
it's crazy.
Yeah, like a lot of the stuff that she was saying, like we were literally just talking about in our past lives episode. I was saying that I feel like I've been here before. I feel like I've had another life.
Yeah.
And that was confirmed in my palm reading.
Right.
She said that I have what she likes to call spooky child syndrome, or I had spooky child syndrome.
Yeah.
And she was just like, basically it means that you were probably one of those kids that could see things and hear things and probably were a little creepy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God. She's like, it's also showing that you've had another life before.
Yeah.
And you used to remember it or something like, she said something along that lines. And I was like, literally was like looking at Sonia like, oh, I told you.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Right. Exactly. And it's so crazy because like I resonated with my palm reading and I thought it was great, but maybe like 3 days ago, I looked up my full planetary birth chart and I'm basically 50% Libra, which is air, and basically 50% Sagittarius, which is fire. And she was reading my palm and she said this really has nothing to do with like your sun sign or anything like that. This is more about Roma. It's like part of her culture and her history, and so she was basically saying that I am so much on the fire side of my personality, and it has to do with like my career, my life, my education. All of it is very intertwined, and I just think that's really cool because Sagittarius is very much about adventure through education, travel, and all that stuff. So
yeah, I know. And she was saying mine was interesting too because she said that I was pulling up very much water, and so I'm an air sign, but it's interesting because I'm on the cusp, and sometimes I feel like I really associate myself sometimes with a Pisces, which is a water sign. And the way that she was explaining water is that it like ebbs and flows, and it always takes shape. It can always fill up a shape perfectly no matter what happens. Basically, like whatever life throws at it, it's very resilient. It's able to just figure it the fuck out. And if that ain't the truth, like, I don't know what is right now, and I'm just like, oh my God,
seriously,
lady, you're amazing.
I can't wait.
I wish we recorded it.
I know. I wish we recorded for sure.
Yeah.
Because there's so many details that she went into, and she's just so good that half the time you're in awe of like what you're hearing. So yeah, we definitely should have recorded it, but maybe we can do it again.
I would love to do it again. And she has her own podcast also. Didn't pull it.
We'll have to leave all of her information in the show notes because you can listen to her, and she travels around the country doing shows and doing readings. So you never know, you could get your palm read by the same person that we did.
She's awesome. Definitely want to. She does like tarot. She does tea. I want to do tea leaf reading next time. I think that's cool. Is that similar to like the coffee grain? Do you know like the coffee grain reading where you like drink your coffee and then it's like based on the grains that show up in the cup. They can like tell you. They did it on Housewives.
Oh wow, that's really cool. I haven't actually heard of that. I have heard of tea leaf reading.
So what do they do with tea leaf?
I don't know. I've just heard of it. I've heard of the term.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard of the term as well. So we'll have to do that one.
We are really clearly into this stuff. So we could just do like someday when you and I are just like not planning a podcast episode, we could just go down the list of all the different kinds of readings that there are and read them and see what they are.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you can see. If you're watching the video, you'll notice I have green nails and Jessica has like a burgundy maroon because for New Year's, we wanted our nails to be the same color as our dresses. We
Yeah.
kept it very monochromatic.
We really did. She was the emerald jewel tone, and I was the burgundy.
Right.
And I wanted a lot more photos. We got one photo.
Yeah, we needed a lot more, but it was hard.
But it's a really good photo, so
Yeah.
I'll take it.
There
It's
were a
fine.
lot of people out, and it was just hard getting around them. But you know, it was New Year's, so what's a party without a crowd?
Right. So we go and get our nails done. I haven't been to get my nails done in a long time, so that in itself was a treat. And it's so funny because I always kind of feel like not a lot of guys like to go get their nails done, but truly it's a really fun experience that you could do on a date.
Yeah.
And so I was like sitting here thinking like, what a cute like date, you know, to like go get your nails done. And I look over at Sonia and she just has this look of pure disgust on her face. And I look down at her feet and this woman is legit, she pulls out this freaking cheese grater and she's going to town on her feet.
And I didn't catch it because Jesse and I were talking. Normally, I tell them before, as they're pulling it out, like, oh, thank you so much. I'll just take like the exfoliating scrub. I don't want that.
They didn't they literally just did the exfoliating scrub for me.
Yeah.
So they must have just been like, oh, geez. She needs the cheese grater.
I was so scared that she was going to cut my foot. I was like trying not to move a hair on my... Oh my god.
But could you imagine though, like imagine like you go on a date with a guy, you go to like the nail place, you go to like, getting
sexy.
your feet done. Like he doesn't have that be a thing. And then all of a sudden like here you are, like they pull out this friggin' special tool.
I can't. I'm so disgusted. I was so disgusted then. I was not looking down. And then I came home and I was like explaining this to Mike. He's like, oh God. Like he was appalled.
It was pretty aggressive. I don't know that was necessary for your feet. I think that's just like, you know, how every tech has their own like
and
routine.
the girl
was
who was doing my nails,
it came across like you really needed the extra help.
The girl who was doing my nails heard us laughing about it and she's like, yeah, you got like the slowest, most meticulous woman in the nail salon to do your feet. That's why you're so far behind right now. And I was like, oh, well, yeah, she, you know, the cheese grater was something.
Yeah, she really wanted to make sure that your toes sparkled.
I do use a pumice stone on my feet.
Yeah. You're like, I promise I take care of. Listen, if anybody needed the cheese grater, it was probably me. Like I hadn't had a pedicure in a very long time.
She was skimping. I think
my girl was probably like, oh, this is just offensive.
There's
like,
no hope here.
She needs to come back and get somebody else. I'm checking out. I'm gonna.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna slop some burgundy on those toes and just call it a day.
I feel like if you catch the cheese grater coming out, just say no. It's one of those nope, nope, nope kind of things.
Yeah.
We say nope to the cheese grater.
Nope to the cheese grater. Does she not know that we're the queens of witches?
Well, I did
we don't
not.
do cheese grating.
I wasn't good at telepathically telling her I didn't want the fucking cheese grater,
Yeah,
so
no.
I don't know. Oh, did you see that Memes is doing a giveaway for her new Airbnb? So,
I didn't see. I saw the video of how beautiful.
Yeah, it's nice.
Did they fix that up themselves?
Yeah. I think they did most of it
gorgeous.
themselves. Yeah.
Well, she like designed, like she had contractors, but she had
she designed it.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah. So they're doing a giveaway. I don't know if it's still going on, but definitely go to TwoLittlesToLove and then check out her post on her Airbnb. There might still be time to enter into her giveaway for 2 nights in her Scottsdale, Arizona Airbnb. I'm all about that.
I want to enter.
Yeah, we need some sunshine.
Yeah, we do. We do.
Yeah.
So I literally, speaking of needing sunshine and light and positivity, so before I came over here, I saged my entire parents' house in the room that I'm staying in because my parents are out right now with the dog and the baby, and so it's like very rare that there's nobody in the house. So I'm like, okay, perfect opportunity. And I've always felt like there was that the house was haunted. I don't think it was like, I've never felt that it was a negative energy. I've never felt like it was bad. I felt like it was a playful, curious, like ghost. And I think it's just I thought it was just one person or whatever. And so the neighbors back, I don't know when this happened, but I guess they lost their son. I don't remember how, and I'm pretty sure he's buried in my parents' backyard.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like they had, and they have the cross for him in their yard. So that neighbor ended up passing away, so they don't even live there anymore. It's just like an abandoned house.
Yeah.
To my parents, but they have like the cross in their backyard because that's where they did the little memorial. But I think the son maybe used to live in my parents' house. I don't really remember, but I'm pretty sure he's buried in our backyard somewhere. Mm-hmm. I've always just felt like it was him that was in that house. Mm-hmm. And there would be times where, like, I'd be in the shower and I would hear, like, the latch to, like, the cabinet where the towels are would, mm-hmm. like, you could hear it. It's a distinct sound, and it would unlatch. Mm-hmm. And I would look out, and it would be latched, and I'd be like, okay, that's weird. But then when I would go to get out of the shower, it would be unlatched, and the door would be kind of open, like the towel thing. Yeah. Like, here you go, grab a towel. Mm-hmm. Like, easy, get a towel. And so then there was another time, it's always happening in the shower, so I'm like, it's definitely a dude. And there's been other times where, like, I would, like, drop my razor or drop, like, my shampoo bottle or something, and I would bend down to go get it, and it wouldn't be, like, I would continue what I was doing and then bend down to go get it, and it wouldn't be there, and then I would look up, and it was, like the razor or whatever would be back on the shelf, and I'm like, oh, did I, like... pick that up and not realize, like, this ghost is like gaslighting me essentially. So anyway, last night after you left, we continued our Virgin River marathon last night, and so after Sonia left, I was cleaning up and everything, and my brother and I hear this blood curdling, what sounded like a kid screaming. What's interesting is it didn't quite sound like Hayden, but like it didn't not sound like Hayden. Like it was a good assumption it was him. Like there's no other child in this house.
Right.
And so I quickly run downstairs, fully expecting to see him sitting on the bed, like crying, but like he wasn't. He was sound asleep. He was in the same exact position he was in when I had just checked on him like a few minutes prior.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that's weird. So now today, before I came here, I'm like, there's nobody in the house. I'm going to sage. And I'm saging and I'm saying the stuff that I'm saying. And I was just like, I release this house of all negative energy. All the negative energy is going to, because you open up the windows, you open up the doors. So I had my brother's to his room, the door kind of cracked open or whatever. Mind you, this could have been the wind. It was just very suspicious timing. And I was like, all negative energy will leave. I'm pushing all negative energy out the door, out through the windows. And as I said that, his bedroom door slammed shut. It didn't just shut, like it slammed shut. And I literally paused for a brief moment. Pretty sure I probably pissed myself a little bit. And I was like, okay.
That is so scary. I would have been standing outside.
I literally was just like,
shaking.
As I was saying, all negative energy. And I like kept going. I like opened the door. I spent extra time in that space. So I'm like, let's get out of here. There's clearly something
my God.
here.
I would have been running out of there.
Yeah, I'm still not convinced it's anything. I don't think it's anything. I really do believe there's a ghost there. I think he's friendly. I think he's just bored. And I think he's just like, oh, you're back. I'm going to fuck with you again.
Oh my God, that is hilarious. He's like, it was getting kind of boring around here.
Yeah, because I was the only one that would reciprocate and like acknowledge that there's something happening. And like my family's so oblivious to anything. They'd be like, oh yeah, I must have picked this razor up and like not... thought, like, no, I know for sure I didn't. And they're just so, like, oblivious. Whereas I'm like,
I don't know. He's not my friend yet, so I don't know what I'm going to do now that I know that this is happening. I guess...
I didn't say he's my friend.
Aries has to sit on my lap now when I go over there. He's not allowed to ignore me anymore.
I've never had a feeling of... Like, I've walked into homes before and I felt... Look at me, I had one palm reading that told me I had spooky child syndrome, and now suddenly I feel like I'm this, like, giant empath. No, but I have walked into homes before that have felt thick and dark and creepy. But I've never once felt like that. Like, I have felt that there's another presence, but I've never felt like it was evil. I just feel like it's, like, playful.
Yeah.
And I think he died in his, like, 20s. So he's, like, young-hearted, like, jokester is how I feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
You love it, right?
I'm so excited.
We have 2 more episodes to watch, by the way, so
Yeah.
you're not done.
Okay, well, Chris is not allowed to leave the living room going forward, and neither is Aries. He has to stay. They both have to stay there.
I promise he's nice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know what the screaming was all about last night. That was a little alarming.
Right, that is alarming. I mean, hopefully you guys haven't acquired, like, maybe he got a girlfriend and
Oh, and she's
they
pissed.
don't like each other.
Yeah, maybe.
Or
Do
maybe
ghosts get girlfriends?
maybe his girlfriend's jealous that you're back and he's helping you with your razor and stuff in the shower.
Well, he hasn't done that.
He hasn't done that?
No,
Okay.
that was like high school shit. Like I haven't. I mean, I look a lot different than I did
She's
in high
like-
school, so he's probably like, "Ooh, I'm not."
Stop. Hey, remember, do ghosts age? Because I feel like, I don't know if ghosts age. I guess not. According to Harry Potter, they don't.
I don't know if ghosts age or not.
I feel like all the ones from Harry Potter, they just died and stayed the same age.
Isn't it? I've heard. I don't know. Like, isn't it? I would like to think that like. And I think I've heard this before, that when you come back at like the best.
Oh, yeah.
So like, I feel like I would come back. I don't even know what my best year was.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably somewhere in my 20s.
Mine will probably be in my 30s, like early 30s.
Yeah, it's probably like, yeah, it's definitely like late 20s, early 30s.
Mhm.
It's probably my best.
Hopefully we have a more mature mentality, though.
Yeah. Well, speaking about age, this is a really good segue
This
to
is
what
perfection.
the topic of this week is. We didn't
Yeah.
even plan that. That just
No.
happened very naturally.
Yes. So today, since we're geriatric and hitting the very early stages of midlife, like so many geriatric mamas are, we're going to be diving 100% into the topic of midlife crises. What are they? What are the signs? How to avoid them? And more. This is a topic that's dear to our hearts, and we especially hope the avoidance of midlife crises part helps.
So I guess we should start with, what is a midlife crisis? A midlife crisis is a period of emotional turmoil that can occur in middle age, around ages 40 to 60, characterized by a strong desire for change. It can be caused by aging or by aging in combination with other factors, such as changes in work or career, changes in spousal relationships, maturation of children, aging or death of parents, and physical changes associated with aging. The length of a midlife crisis can vary from a few weeks to years, depending on the individual's situation. Some people have midlife glow-ups and don't identify with the word crisis at all. They take better care of their health, they'll practice more self-care, start doing more things they're passionate about, etc. I feel like that's the healthy way to handle a midlife crisis.
1000%. Right.
Yeah. A lot of people should take notes about that.
Yes.
Okay.
So, I mean, there are definitely signs of a midlife crisis. When I was going through these, they were actually pretty shocking. I mean, not shocking in a sense of like, wow, that's absurd, but like, some of them are just like things I thought were part of everyday life. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Depression, isolation, anxiety, boredom, regret, and nostalgia, lack of concentration, restlessness. A common one is buying a flashy sports car, undergoing extensive plastic surgery, and cheating on a partner. Now, of course, I don't think these specific ones are part of everyday life, but definitely a lot of people, especially women, because we're always talking with women, have expressed lack of concentration, restlessness. There was also like insomnia or just like trouble falling asleep and staying asleep. So I guess that all is encompassing in that. And like those were listed on some of them. So, I mean, it's just like those are definitely things I think we all kind of experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think it's like, to try to think about like what probably happens. I know for me, like you get to a certain age and I think everybody has this idea in their head of like what life is going to look like. Like I know I went through it when I hit 30. I was like, I'm not married yet. I don't have a kid yet. What the hell? And you start questioning everything. You're like, what am I doing with my life?
Right.
And then when that is only going to increase as the years go on. And if you're not in a place where you thought you would be, I mean, everybody handles it differently.
Right.
And I think a lot of people go to the self-sabotaging, depression. They try to seek things that are going to make them happy, but it's truly at the end of the day just a band-aid. Like that flashy car, yeah, in the moment it felt great as the impulse of like, I did this is amazing. But, like, you know, at the end of the day, when you look in the mirror, you're still the same person. That car didn't change you. It made you happy for a minute because it's a Band-Aid. It's not fixing the problem.
Right. It's just
Therapy.
nice to have. Right.
Therapy.
We have a lot to get into on how to avoid a midlife crisis, but now I'm starting to think that it can also help if you're already in the midlife crisis.
Okay, so here are some ways to avoid a midlife crisis. First one, acknowledge your feelings. Don't ignore your feelings or pretend nothing is wrong. Instead, try to explore your concerns and make the most of them. You can talk to people you trust or journal your thoughts and give yourself the compassion of self-validation and self-assurance. The next one is develop a sense of purpose. Set new goals, learn new skills or hobbies, meditate or travel. The October 7th Mel Robbins and Dr. Doty interview talks about the life purpose of the human species and that no matter what we're doing each day, we can keep that purpose as our intention. So we have the video that we are going to play for you guys now because it is just amazing.
Here we go.
You said that human beings are wired for service. As a neurosurgeon, as a person that, you know, you're here in Boston to go teach about compassion. You were the chairman
of the Dalai Lama Foundation, yes.
So how are we wired for service as human beings?
Well, if you look at our evolution as a species, unlike other species, one, we have a small litter size.
That's a very clinical one. I think if I were your wife and you said that, I'd smack you, Dr. Doty. A small litter size.
Well, my wife has smacked me multiple times, believe me. And our offspring do not run off into the jungle or the forest. They have to be cared for well over a decade. And why would you expend the time, the resources, the energy to care for your offspring unless you were rewarded? The way you're rewarded when you care for your offspring is the release of different neurotransmitters such as oxytocin or the love hormone. And when those are released, your pleasure and reward centers are activated, your physiology works at its best, and you look at the world through the lens of love and caring because you want your offspring to survive. As we evolved as a species, and you're probably aware that there's something called Dunbar's number. So up to 150 people, which was typically the size of a tribe. Again, it was important because you were in a hostile environment that you cared for the other or the group would not survive. So these are very deep-seated genetic imperatives that are with us that allow our species to survive. We are not meant to live chronically in the sympathetic nervous system. We are meant as a species to live in our parasympathetic nervous system where we have openness, generosity, caring, love. The problem is the nature of how capitalist society has been developed actually for many people activates their sympathetic nervous system chronically and they get distracted from their purpose. Our purpose is to love one another.
I love that.
I feel like he's just like so black and white about it. And when you listen to the entire interview and like why that's our purpose and why it matters, it's a really good interview.
All right, so the next one, appreciate change. Try to embrace new challenges instead of worrying about them. For context, acknowledge the positive aspects of new situations. Actively seek out opportunities within the change. Practice gratitude for what you're learning. Embrace the potential for growth and actively look for ways to adapt and contribute positively to the new environment. Essentially, focusing on the benefits and possibilities that change can bring rather than resisting it. Yes, that is a good one. All right, so the next one. Contextualize nostalgia and regret. It's important to remember that hindsight can be misleading. To explain, if the feeling of missing the past is what's happening, try to remember all the details of what was happening during the time that you think that you're missing. A lot of times, the mind will remember the good things about the past and forget about most of the bad things that were happening at the same time. Yeah, that is so true. I am notorious for doing this. My brain does something when I look back at a moment is like, for example, I had a blip in time where I was in LA LA. And when I look back in LA, my mind automatically will think of some really fun moments that I had. There weren't a lot of them.
Right.
But it will automatically collect all the fun moments, and so much so that I've had times where I'm like, I want to move back to California. But when I go back and really think about what my experience was there, it was a struggle. It was hard. It wasn't fun. It wasn't good. It wasn't cute.
Right.
So it's like the fact that I'm able to like block out all of that bullshit and just think about, it's like, I think a good quality, but I think it can also be dangerous as well, because it's like
it's like the highlights reel has been activated. And I remember that time in California when you moved out there, and I was there for a couple of days, and you had just gotten paid. I mean, we were really young back then too.
Yeah.
And you had just gotten paid, or like your parents had just sent you money or something. And so you went grocery shopping and like brought them back to the studio. And you were like, it's just, isn't it just such a good feeling when you can like put groceries in the refrigerator?
Yeah.
And like that
so small.
was the reality of your day in and your day out life. So what you remember is the highlights reel.
I'm remembering the highlights reel from it. Yeah.
And like even when we went to Kennebunkport, we lost feeling in our toes. We were freezing. We were waiting for over an hour outside for them to light the tree, not realizing what was happening. But all I, like, right now, my mind goes towards is that we stopped into this really cute, cozy restaurant.
Yep.
We each got our own favorite kind of drink. And then we went outside, and then we took a couple pictures, which was great. We got pictures.
Yeah.
I remember that part.
Saw the tree. There was a little baby all bundled up that was
so
staring
cute.
at us.
And I remember we went to Batson River, and we
that
got
was fun. Got those
really good lobster rolls.
delicious lobster rolls.
Right. My mind does not think about the fact that I lost complete feeling in my toes and most of my feet, or exactly how cold we were, or how long we were standing outside waiting for the tree to light.
But like, maybe we're just like positive fucking people.
I think a lot of people are.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
You should be positive. But at the same time, though, like for purpose of this, you need to also recognize, like, listen, it wasn't all sunshines and rainbows. You're choosing to remember X, Y, Z. If we choose to remember only the good times in the highlight reel from our past, why can't we do that for our present and future?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like, so think about like the present. A lot of times, it's so easy for people.
We're
to
complaining.
Be like, we're complaining, and we're thinking about all woe is me, the bullshit, and all the shit that's going wrong. But then when we think back in our past, oh my God, things were so much better then. It was so much simpler. All I had to worry about was X, Y, Z. And it was like, no, Jessica, you had so much more to worry about. Like, this is so much better than what that was. Why aren't you seeing that? Like, it's just weird that that's how our mind works.
It's so weird. So a lot of times the nostalgia is really the highlights reel. And what we're living in today will someday be a highlights reel as well.
Hey mamas, are you someone who's 35 plus and struggled with fertility, endured a miscarriage, experienced heartbreaking fostering or adoption challenges, or were perhaps flat out told by a doctor that you will never conceive naturally, and despite the odds eventually found your happy ending by becoming a mama?
Send us your story at geriatricmamas.com. We would love to feature your journey to motherhood on a future Geriatric Mamas episode. So to continue on, learn something new. Learning something new can keep your mind active and give you a sense of accomplishment. This reminds me, you know how I was mentioning how I was like diving into like my whole birth chart? When I was reading about my Sagittarius moon sign, I found some interesting information about learning specifically. It said that we often feel the same way while we're learning new things as we do when we're traveling. It's like excitement. So I thought that was really cool. And obviously it's brought up because Sagittarius is all about travel, adventure. Well, sometimes if you can't like just travel all the time, you can just like read a book or go on Instagram and like learn something new on Instagram or Pinterest. It can be something as simple as that, and your mind is taken to a different place, a different thought reality. Learning something new is just really therapeutic for some people.
Yeah, I think that's what I loved about remodeling our home, because we didn't know what the hell we were doing. We literally built that house on YouTube.
Yeah.
Hopefully the new owners aren't listening to this. Like, surprise. Don't look too closely.
It's really cute. It's really cute. It's
No, you're kidding. You did it right. But
Yeah.
but we were learning as we went, and it energized us. It
Right.
did something where we were just like, ooh, that's cool. Especially when it's like successful.
Right.
Like if it's like not a good
Right.
outcome, then it's like, yeah, well.
Right. You learned something.
Yeah. That's
Maybe
true.
it didn't go so great, but moving on to the next adventure.
Moving on.
And then the next one is practice gratitude. You can try writing down 3 things you're grateful for each morning. I find personally that if you write it down at night, that the day and what you're grateful for is more fresh on your mind. Like when I wake up in the morning, my mind is usually pretty like focused on what I need to do for the day, like it's setting intentions. But at night I can like reflect and be like, oh my god, Annabelle is so cute today, or like whatever, you know?
You know that what that makes me think of is that thing that I sent you from Jay Shetty, the jar. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
So I want to do this. So
Yeah.
if you guys, anybody who follows Jay Shetty, he posted something and it was like a New Year's post or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought this was such a cool idea. So he's like, get a jar, and then at the end of each week, write something. And if you have a little family, whatever, you can have everybody in the family write down one thing that happened that week that was so amazing, that brought them joy, that made them so happy.
Yeah.
It could be anything. It could be something as small as it snowed and that was amazing, or the start of my new show is coming back and I'm so excited about it, or I just had like the best burger and it was just delicious. It could be something so small. It doesn't matter what it is. Or I got the promotion. Obviously that's amazing. And you write it down and you put it in the jar. And then at the end of the year, when you go back, so it's so easy for everybody to be like, oh, that was a dumpster fire of a year. Nothing good happened. It was horrible. Instead of focusing on that, be like, this is going to be a better year. This is my year. You go back through the jar as a family on New Year's Eve night and you read through all of the things. And if it's just yourself, whatever, that's fine too. But you read through all the moments of each week of that year that brought you joy and happiness. And I thought that was so cool because it's practicing gratitude and being happy with the moments that are given to you and remembering all those moments instead of just pushing them aside and focusing on the dumpster fire.
Right. And it gives you things to look forward to because you can technically take some of those favorite things and make them traditions or do them again.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking about cheeseburgers and I want a
I know,
cheeseburger.
me too. And it could be stuff that you forgot about as well, So
Practice self-care. Make time for yourself, nurture your friendships, and maintain your own life. And all of those, I think, are definitely, great examples of practice self-care. I think, now that you're home, definitely part of self-care is, like, nurturing friendships because we get to go out and do so much more.
I know.
But I think for people whose best friends happen to live in the same state, you're very lucky. And like, just take advantage of that and go do things together because it's therapeutic. Next one, connect with like-minded people. You can encourage and build each other up. I love that. Really cute. The next one is couples therapy. So apparently, like, whoever wrote this was thinking specifically about couples, and I'm sure since we mentioned the signs sometimes are like changes in spouses and stuff like that. I'm sure a lot of spousal issues come up with midlife crises.
Oh, yes, 1000%.
I mean, even if they just go out and buy a new sports car, speaking about men specifically, that's still going to piss off a wife who's like, we could have used that towards anything else besides a new sports car.
Exactly.
Yeah, so couples therapy. Couples therapy can help you and your partner learn to communicate better and restore intimacy. I think that's definitely true. And then the next one I added, it's reparent yourself. This is something I would love to do a full episode on at some point because it's such an amazing and effective form of self-therapy that can impact the way we parent our own children. So RuPaul has an amazing class in the Masterclass app where they talk about this, and Dr. Doty also touches on reparenting in his interview with Mel Robbins that we played earlier. Reparenting isn't to say that our parents or any parents did a bad job job. It's just that children and adult children often internalize lots of outside factors that they can't control as being their fault. And reparenting is an amazing form of therapy that we can all do by ourselves or with a therapist. And the technique can be used in midlife to give ourselves the compassion we need and deserve as we go through difficult situations, realizations, regrets, and nostalgia.
Yeah, that would be a really good episode. And that's also trending right now too. So
Is
it's
it?
such a popular topic.
That must be how I found it for myself.
Yeah.
But it's definitely freaking eye-opening and amazing. Like I said, like, it's not like I feel as though, like, my parents or, like, certain people individually have done a terrible job. It's just our little tiny children minds don't always see what's actually happening.
Right.
And so we, like, internalize things as our fault, or, like, we establish a trauma that might not actually be a trauma. So, like, you can, like, therapize yourself, or you can, like, just start parenting yourself now. There's
Yeah.
just so much cool stuff about it.
Yeah, and it doesn't always have to be like anything that was like wrong or like traumatic too. I think, you know, it's just about like evolving as people also. Like, why stay, like, you know, science is different, customs are different, ethics are different, culture is different. Like, today's society is way different than what it was 20 years ago, 10 years ago, even 5 years ago is different, you know? So it's like you have to evolve with that.
Right.
And the way that our parents were like parenting them in the 50s or 40s or whatever the fuck it was is way different than how we're going to be parenting today. And we can't stay stuck in that. And so in that sense, you are going to be evolving. You are going to be breaking different cycles. You are going to be essentially reparenting yourself. Like, I know that I let Hayden get away with more than what I was able to get away with.
Right.
And it's not that I'm letting him get away with it. It's because I am viewing it in a way of he's not being bad. He's exploring. He's not trying to be a brat. He is testing his boundaries.
Right.
He is, you know, so it's like I'm a little bit more laxed in areas, you know, and don't get me wrong, there are times in the back of my mind where I hear, I hear myself being like, oh my God, will you just stop? Like, I hear it in myself, like, trying, like, you know, that is there because that's how I grew up and that wants to come out. But it's like, it's a conscious effort to be like, like, he needs to figure this out. Let him get this big voice out. Let him get this, you know, whatever's happening right now out and figure it out so that he can be done with it and move forward. So I think it's a healthy thing. We absolutely need to make that a new
And like
topic.
now we know from like even the book that I'm reading now, I don't know when it was written, but like the Whole Brain Child, like we know that children are born with all of their big emotions, but no ability to control it. And those are things where in certain decades, in certain generations, kids were punished for those emotions and the behaviors that go with the emotions. And so it's like there's just so much now in 2025.
Yeah, there is.
How crazy! 2025.
Oh gosh, I'm still writing 2023. How is this happening?
Oh my God! It feels like it was just yesterday. It feels like it is now 2023. But I'm saging tonight. I'm excited.
Hopefully your sage stays lit. Mine kept blowing out. I'm wondering, like, was it the ghost? Did he keep blowing out my
He was
sage?
like, I want to be negative, so just let me be.
Yeah, he's like, let me be negative.
Let me
I enjoy
live.
this space.
I have a toxic girlfriend and I don't want her to go. So you left me. Now I had to get a toxic girl. Don't know what you want from me.
Yeah.
She's all that was here.
Now she's stuck on the outside of the house. He's
Ugh.
on the side of the house. And
Can
he's
you
like,
imagine?
And then he's like, hello from the other side.
And she just like blood curdling scream.
Oh God.
Maybe she like found his body or something. That was dark. That was so dark.
I loved it. That was so good.
She's like, wait, well, I can't hang out with you inside, so now I'm gonna find you out here.
God.
Nothing but time on my hands.
You see Carrie. Like,
Yeah.
cover. Okay. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. Be sure to tune in next week. Your support is keeping the podcast going. You can help by following, subscribing, rating, reviewing, and especially by telling a friend to listen anywhere or watch on YouTube.
For more info, you can check out our website at geriatricmamas.com. You can also follow us on Instagram and TikTok at geriatric_mamas, on YouTube at geriatric Geriatric Mamas, Twitter at Geriatric Mamas, and follow our group page on Facebook, Geriatric Mamas.
If you have a topic idea that you'd like us to discuss, are interested in being a guest, or simply have a funny geriatric story to tell, or a witchy story or a ghost story.
Yeah, we'll take a Queen of Witches story.
Yeah, Queen of Witches story or palm reading story or anything like that. You can go to geriatricmamas.com and hit be a guest or send us your story.
Yes.
Yas.
Please.
Bye.
Bye.
Changes in spousal. Why can't I say spousal? Spousal. I keep wanting to put an H in the spousal.
Spousal. Everybody will totally know what that is.
Changes in What the fuck? Changes in. What is happening?
She's having a...
I feel like I'm having a stroke. Okay, try this again. Changes in spousal. What the fuck? Can you say that word for me? Sorry.
Changes in spousal.
Thank you. Why is that hard? Okay, let me try that again. Changes in spousal. I tried so hard to get the H out. Why is there an H in there? Okay. Changes in spousal. Why can't I say this? I'm just going to say in relationship. Changes in spousal relationship. Why does the word spousal sound so weird to me? Spousal. Okay.